you in this group have worked with seniors, so we're going to direct our talk to how our bear works with seniors, although the bear does work very well with children as well. And I have a separate talk for that if you ever get interested. So question today is, can a bear save your life? As you know, bears aren't always known to save people's lives. Most of us have experience with these types of bears, which don't exactly save your life. But our bear might save your life, or perhaps one of your clients' lives, or one of your patients' lives. This is what we propose, and we feel that our bear has already saved lives. How does this happen? Well, let me first go into the way our bear intervenes with patients and clients. Let's talk about medication non-adherence, or medication compliance, as the former term was. As you probably know, a lot of people don't take their medicine. Present company, of course, excluded. I'm sure everybody here takes their medicines, all their medicines, all the time. But your clients and my patients over the years, I found, did not take their medicine. And I found throughout my practice, throughout my years of practice, that patients weren't taking their medicines and they were getting sick, they're getting strokes, they're getting heart attacks, they're getting seizures, they're getting depressed, a lot of the time because they weren't taking their medicines. And it got to be frustrating. Sometimes I had battles with my patients. And so I tried to think of different ways to get my patients to take their medicines. And I'm sure many of you work with the same problem, that people aren't taking their medicines. So let's look at this. I analyzed this through some research and tried to look into this problem. First, I asked my patients to bring in all the pill bottles. So I don't know if you've ever done this, a brown bag check or whatever, but people were bringing in their pill bottles, and there's tons of bottles that were full. And they tell me, well, the pharmacy keeps sending me the medicine, and they're sending me too much medicine. And, you know, which is not true. The pharmacy is not allowed to send more medicine than the patient's supposed to take. So they are just not taking their medicine. And some of these medicines are kind of important. This is the bag from one of my patients. This is my old office. You can see up here at Jefferson Family Medicine. So this is actually from my office. And one of these stored pill bottles is warfarin, which is kind of an important medicine, blood pressure pill, amlodipine, Zetia, et cetera. So you can see, and this happened to me over and over again. People would bring in bushel bags full of medicines that they weren't taking. So I thought it was a real problem in my office. And then let's look nationally. This is a graph from Excellus, and you can see, which is a big insurance company. And of all prescriptions that are written, Excellus estimated that 88% were actually filled. This is actually nationally probably only 70% are filled. And of the 70% that are filled, about 70% are actually taken. So that ends up being about a half of all medicines that are prescribed are actually taken. Half. So, and this does not contradict anything that I felt was happening in my office. And this is one of the main reasons that people get sick. Aetna, another insurance company, insurance companies aren't happy about this because a lot of the patients are getting sick and end up in the hospital, and they have to pay a lot of money for people to get sick. So you can see in the left side that 125,000 people die every year because they're not taking their medicine. This compares to about 60,000 people a year that die from colon cancer, and about 45,000 people that die every year from breast cancer. So that's more people that die from colon and breast cancer combined. So it's a serious problem. And it costs a lot of money. About 10 to 15% of people that go to the hospital end up hospitalized, are hospitalized because they're not taking their medicine, whether it's blood pressure pills or diabetes medicine, seizure medicine, depression medicine. So the big medicines, people don't take them, they're going to end up in the hospital. And I saw this all the time. I saw it in my patients. I saw it in my patients that got tired of me asking them to take their medicine and go to another doctor, and I see them in the grocery store in a wheelchair, et cetera, et cetera. So it's again, It's a well-recognized and serious problem. I don't have to belabor it because you all work with this problem all the time. So if you're out in the field working with patients, how can you kind of get an idea of who's taking the medicine and who's not? Well, you can always look at their pill bottles. If the pill bottles are more than 3 months old, they're probably not taking their medicine. But there's 3 questions that are thought to be diagnostic of people not taking the medicine. First of all, you can ask, do you feel your medicine's important to take? So if they're not feeling their medicine's all that important, then they're probably skipping it every now and then. Or if they feel that their medicine could be doing more harm than good, or if they're having trouble paying for the medicine. These are red flags that you could ask 3 quick questions to see if the patient's taking their medicine or not. And then you might want to investigate further. I didn't have a slide of this, but there was a hypertension clinic for all the patients that were very hard to control with their hypertension. And I'm sure you've all seen these patients as well. So what they did was a little trick, and they told the patients beforehand, they checked their urine to see if they were actually taking the medicine they were prescribed. Some of these people were prescribed 4 or 5 blood pressure pills. And 30% of the patients in the high blood pressure clinic weren't taking any of their medicines. So that was a solution right away for 30% of the people that were referred to a tertiary clinic that they weren't taking their blood pressure pills. Kind of interesting. So I was scratching my head trying to figure out a way to get people to take their medicine more. And I did notice that we had a diabetes clinic in my office, a diabetes group. Yes, a diabetes group. And in that diabetes group, people got better. And I tried to figure out, why are people getting better in my diabetes group and maybe not my other diabetics? And it was really the companionship of the group. We didn't look at how many grams of fat were in an avocado, but instead, people talked about their trials and tribulations, their Aunt Minnie that had a toe that was infected because she was diabetic. It was more of a companionship thing. And I thought, how can we develop a companion for patients that can't come to our diabetes groups? And that's when I stumbled upon the idea of MediTeddi. MediTeddi is a furry electronic medication coach that reminds people, that does 2 things really. It reminds them twice a day whether they have taken their medicine, reminds them twice a day to take their medicine, and gives them a supportive answer one way or the other, whether they're taking their medicine or not, to their reply to whether they've taken their medicine or not. And MediTeddi also stores the answers in a easily retrievable form so that the healthcare team or the loved one or the doctor can determine whether or not the patient's taking his or her medicine. So we did so does MediTeddi really work? Well, let me, first of all, let's listen to a testimonial. How long have you had the bear now? Do you know?
No, it's been a few months, I think. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And how has the bear helped you?
He's cute.
Oh yeah.
I get a kick out of him. He really does help me. Even though when it first talks to me, and I'm sitting there by myself, and all of a sudden I hear somebody talk, I jump about 2 feet in the air. But other than that, it really does help because it reminds me that it's time.
What time is that?
And the time to take my meds, how many times a day? Yeah.
So it does help you take your medicine and make sure you get it.
Yeah. Sometimes, I'm like, you get busy, either watching TV or doing whatever. And then, the bear will tell me, time to take your meds or whatever. So, it does. It stops me and I go, oh, yeah, I got to do this,
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And the bear, and you press the paw, yes or no, after you take it?
Oh, yes, definitely. And it always tells me when it's happy with me.
Oh,
and you're my best friend, or different things it says, and I crack up. It's just so cute. If I say I've taken my meds, I press the one paw. If you don't, you press the other paw. So, and I always press the ones that I take them, and and they say, "Oh, you are my best friend," or whatever. You know, it's cute.
Yeah.
It really is cute.
Yeah.
I
So
do.
you say you live in an apartment building,
Yeah, I live in a senior apartment, actually. Yeah.
and you say that you've taken the bear around the building.
Oh yeah, I took it. Like we sit outside a lot of times, you know. So I'll take a couple times. I've taken the bear out, and my friends look at me like, "What the heck? Is she regressing or something?" But then I explain it to them, and they get a kick out of it too, you know. So yeah.
So you say things have improved a little bit.
Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, most of the time I remember, but you know, there's certain months, like certain times, you know, that I have to take them, and it'll remind me the times and whatever, and I go, "Oh, I got to do that," you know. So it does every so often, yeah. It's definitely, yeah.
And do you have any trouble? I guess you don't have any trouble hearing the bear, or you hear?
No, yeah. Well, he sits right on the sofa with me.
So, yes, and we have many other testimonials as well that this is a woman who has mild dementia and, you know, claims she was taking her medicine, but really wasn't, according to her daughter, and was really resistant to taking this bear. But once she got the bear, obviously became very attached to it and started taking her medicine, you know, much more regularly. So this is a really big success story, and she's going to do much better. And then the other thing is that she's taking 3 pills for depression, and I think with another few months with a bear that she could probably start taking less and less medicine for depression, which is going to be great because the bear has obviously cheered her up quite a bit with regard to the depression issues as well. So I think it's been a real success for her. Now, what we didn't demonstrate with this video, which we talked about later in the video, was the fact that by pressing both paws, she can show the statistics as to how often she's been taking her medicine. Now, in her case, it was 95%. And this gives a 7, 14, and 21-day average of how often she's pressed the yes paw to indicate that she's been taking her medicine. And before that, she was taking the medicine quite infrequently. So in addition to her obviously much improved mood and her love for the bear, which sits right beside her on the sofa, she's also taking her blood pressure medicine, her cholesterol medicine, and other medicines. So she's really, really doing much better. And this is for $100, which is the cost of taking one vial of insulin, right? Or some pills cost about $100 each. So we're really happy about that. Now, we did run a study of our bear in diabetics. So let's take a look at our study. So what we did is we gave 10 patients a bear and that were diabetic, and we get with instructions, and 10 patients we had as a control group. And we checked their A1C, which is a test for control of diabetes, at the beginning of the study and then 3 months later. As most of you probably know, the A1C is a test of how well you're controlling your diabetes over the previous 3 months. Now, in the control group, you can see on the left, the A1C did not change at all in the 3 months, which is not surprising. It actually went down a tiny bit. And then in our group with the bear, the A1C dropped about almost a point, about 0.8, which is about a 40-point drop in the average blood sugar. So just by giving it this bear and them following instructions with the bear, their A1C dropped about 0.8, which is about the amount that the A1C drops when you add an expensive diabetes pill like Januvia, and no side effects, right? Actually, the only side effect is you feel good about yourself. So, and then if this drop were to continue for the next 10, 20 years, these patients would live 4 to 5 years longer, and they would have fewer hospitalizations and fewer lost limbs and fewer emergency room visits, etc. Now, in addition to the A1C drop, we also checked a measure of self-confidence. This is called the Marisky scale. And in the control group, the confidence level about taking medicines and life in general did not change at all. But in the Bear group, this is like golf, where a lower score is better. But in the Bear group, where blue is, in the Bear group, the confidence level improved dramatically. These people were a lot happier because they had their bear. Now, it sounds silly, right? A grown adult with a bear feeling happier, but I think we all secretly have a desire to have a bear that we can hold on to and tell our problems to, et cetera, et cetera. And some of us have a blanket, some of us have a pillow, and most of us wouldn't mind having a bear. And we all have a child in us, and she was very resistant to this bear. This woman was a head nurse at a labor and delivery floor, so she was resistant to having the bear. But once she had it, she loved the bear, I have to tell you. So, although this is a strange concept, it does work for patients once they get over the resistance to taking on a teddy bear. So we have shown in a clinical study, and we have shown on individual basis that our MediTeddi is saving lives. And we have testimonials of people that said it says that bear saves their lives. And statistically speaking, the bear, by lowering blood sugar, in this case, will save lives, but it also can help prevent depression, seizures, high blood pressure, anything that is helped by taking medication. And also things that are beyond medication, but just feeling good about yourself, feeling confident about yourself. So that's our story about MediTeddi. And if you need more information, you can go to our website, HealthPozitive.com. That's positive with a Z. Or you could call me. That number there will go directly to my cell phone. We're just getting started with promoting MediTeddi. And also, that's my email and further information. But we also have a line of clothing that I worked in the urban area in Rochester, New York, and one of my patients does the crocheting for, we have about 10 different designs. We have pants for the male MediTeddis. You can't really tell the difference, and we have dresses for those who want to have a female. And everybody has a different name and different gender identity for their MediTeddi. So thank you very much for listening. And I'll entertain any questions if there are any.